happening on the 16th of May. We're going to be having our local South African. He is the independent. He is the IBF lightweight champion of the world, Philip Holliday. Can we please have him in the ring? He'll be fighting against David Sample on the 16th of May for his 6th title defense. We hope you're all going to be supporting him.
Well, they're calling Philip Holliday the IBF lightweight champion to the ring.
I'm sure every South African wishes him well for his 6th title defense. Thank you, Philip Holliday. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for 12 rounds of boxing for the South African middleweight South African title. And for that prestigious old black belt, he's fighting out of the red corner. He's got the red and white trunks, weighing at 75 kilograms. His fight record, 8 fights, 8 wins. He is Jorge, the Wild Thing, Sendra Garcia. The current South African champion, he's wearing the white, red and blue trunks, weighing at 76.14 kilograms. He's had 17 fights, 14 wins and 3 losses. He is Sun Dynamite Burtis.
You got my instructions in the ring. You got my instructions in the dressing rooms. Please obey my commands. Shake hands.
Well, looks like Jorge Sendra Garcia really means business. He's giving a real old stare down there to Stuart Burtis. Well, we're going into this super middleweight fight. The limit 76.20 kilograms, and they're right into action here, right in the first round. We expected this because there's 2 maulers, bangers, and this is what we're going to see. It's going to be real action, rough stuff here. Stuart Burtis, the champion, in the white trunks, the blue trim, against Jorge Sendra Garcia in the white with the red trim at the bottom. Well, this is real rough stuff here. This is what we expected, Clinton.
Enthusiastic start from both fighters. Interesting, Sendra never been beyond 6 rounds, so I think his tactics are probably to try and see if he can win this one early against Burtis. A tough fighter, more than twice as many fights as Sendra, so Sendra's up against it tonight.
Well, he's up against a real strong man. I believe in the gymnasium. The guys don't like sparring with Burtis. He's a very, very strong man. And possibly the only hope for Garcia is to take him out early, because the longer the fight goes, the stronger Burtis gets. And he's got the more experience. He's had 17 fights. He's only been lost 3 times. And when he's been stopped, he was stopped by a more experienced man, like a man like Malinga. No disgrace to be stopped by Sugar Boy Malinga, a former WBC super middleweight champion. Well, this is real rough stuff here. Look at those elbows going there. Referee not picking up that. You see that elbow going there from Burtis?
Well, Burtis will be surprised. Sendra's noted for his ability to fight back in a similar manner, and it'll only be a matter of time before he does it.
Well, there the elbows going in all the time. The referee should move around, pick up the elbow. He's not picking it up, and that's real dirt coming in there from the champion, Stuart Burtis.
Watch it!
That's also bad refereeing.
I agree with you there. But this is all action, and this is what we expected to do. No science, no pure boxing here. This is just going to be a real brawl.
Sendra not short of support. I understand his girlfriend bought 40 tickets ahead of the fight, and his 4 brothers are here as well. One come out from London especially for the fight. So George has got his fan club tonight.
Well, he's got a lot of support here, but he's up against a strong, more experienced champion in Stuart Burtis. And that's Stuart Burtis in the white trunks, the blue trim.
Stay back.
Champion is up against his rough brawler. Well, we warned there the champion for pulling in and hitting behind the neck, but this will happen in this rough type of fight. Well, you can see the strength coming up with just pushing off Garcia.
I'd say that this is the sort of fight Sendra would prefer, fighting in close warfare. This is he thrives under these sort of conditions.
Well, he knows nothing else. I've seen all his fights, and this is his pattern. He doesn't know how to box. He knows how to fight. The referee not picking up at the elbow there of Stuart Burtis. It's happening time and time again. I'm quite surprised. But good shots going there for the champion. And those are really stunned Garcia at the end. A good round there, and that must be a round for the champion.
Yeah, I think Burtis quite enjoyed that, giving the smoke at the end of the round for Sendra. He hasn't been short of hyping the fight.
Jy wag te lank as hy inkom. So. As hy inkom, jy wag te lank. As hy inkom, maak op jy daai jab gooi wat hy buk. En tel jy hom op. Hoor jy?
Into round 2 of this super middleweight championship fight, scheduled for 12 rounds. I don't think we'll see 12 rounds, Clinton.
No, I'd be surprised. You know, both fairly crude, both fighters rather than boxers. Funny enough, a common opponent in James Maisela, whom Buertas beat last year to regain the title, whereas a year or two ago, well, in fact, in Sendra's third fight, he beat Maisela inside the distance, which is quite interesting.
But the longer the fight goes, I think the more difficult it will be for Sendra, because Buertas is the more experienced and the bigger puncher of the two, and possibly a little bit of a better boxer.
Buertas showing no ill effects from his last fight. He claims he tore the ligaments in his shoulder, but moving freely tonight, getting his punches off quite nicely.
It's all Buertas here now in round 2, and you can see the difference in class here with Buertas.
Funny little sign of rust in Buertas. He only fought once last year, but he's looking in good shape here tonight.
Oh, Sendra coming at him. There's one thing about Jorge Sendra Garcia. He's going to give it all. If he loses this fight, he'll go. But look at those snaps coming through. There's been a problem with Buertas. He snaps, he sort of cuffs his opponent. But those are hurting. They really got Sendra in trouble there now. He let the shots coming, but what a gutsy comeback there by the challenger. He's going to go down fighting. He won't give up easy. He wants this title.
Good counter-punching. He needs to do what he did earlier there. Needs to put Buertas onto the rope so that he's on the offensive.
Well, we didn't expect any fancy dance stuff here. We knew it would be like this. And now comes Garcia coming at Buertas now. Buertas has got to just stay in there. Let the fight go a little bit longer, and he'll wear down the challenger. But while Garcia's there, he'll be... Oh, a little bit of a wrestling throw there. Rough stuff on the inside there. There's elbows, there's everything going in there.
Superior punching from Buertas, but every now and again Sendra comes out with one or two punches of his own which land quite effectively.
Well, they can't go 12 rounds at this pace. There's no way they can go 12 rounds. And a good right hand coming there from the champion. But possibly Garcia trained the hardest he ever has in his life for this fight, because he knew he was going to be in for a tough night. And this is his big chance here in his 9th fight. It's all close quarter stuff this, and they're really giving it a full go. It's not pretty to watch this, but it's plenty of action. First it's Buertas, then Garcia. Stop! Oh, that is a... Gee. That was more like a wrestling throw than anything else. Buertas could have hurt his foot there. That is really rough stuff. That looked like all in wrestling.
Yeah, but no love lost between these two. I mean, wanting to carry it on after the bell. No surprise there. A lot of people predicted this sort of fight.
Stay close to him. Keep the fight close to him. Don't give him range. Stay on his ass full time. Do not give him range. Kill the body. Come from there.
Oh, we see some action from that action-packed second round there. And the champion, Buertas, pouring it on. The cuffing blows coming, not clean shots with the wrist. He didn't bend in the wrist. He's just cuffing in there. And that's why he loses power. He doesn't really punch correctly, does Buertas. And neither does Garcia for that matter. And here comes the hip throw. That was a bit of all-in wrestling, whatever you want to call it. Well, we're into round 3 of this South African super middleweight clash between Jorge Sendra Garcia in the white with the like fire red at the bottom of his trunks. He's the challenger. Against Buertas, the champion, making the first defense of his title that he regained when he beat James Marcelli in September last year. It's pretty rough stuff here, Clinton.
Funny enough, quite similar to Boetes' winning effort last year, pretty much a wrestling match as well.
But this is his style. He knows no other style, and you won't change him. I don't think you can change his style. Right up above us here, and the shots coming in from Boetes. But as I said, Boetes tends to slap a bit. He doesn't use the knuckle part of the glove correctly, and this is where he loses power. But he keeps coming at you, and the longer the fight goes, the more difficult it will be for Garcia.
I think possibly a problem for him. He may be over-eager. He wants to impress. It's the biggest fight of his career. His first main fight on television, so it's a big night for him.
And, you know, this can cause a fighter to lose. Oh, a terrific left hand coming there from a champion, but Garcia stands up. When a fighter does this, he loses a lot of energy, and this costs him later in the fight, in the later round.
You know, no obvious signs of distress there, but it has an accumulative effect where later in the rounds, these punches come through and they hurt you.
A little bit of head going there for Garcia. We need a strong referee, and I don't know if our referee, Gain O'Neill, is up to it at the moment. A very, very difficult fight for him to handle.
A lot of mauling, a lot of holding, but he's letting it carry on.
Well, he's not picking up the dirt. We need a strong referee because there goes a shoulder in. A little bit of head going in every now and again. And pushing, wrestling. The referee's got to take control of this fight because it will end up in a real mess.
Good left there from Sendra.
Well, Sendra's a determined young man, and he's always in there with a chance. There's no doubt about that.
Doing what trainer Nick Durant told him. Durant said, sit on him, stay on his chest, work inside, and he's doing that.
Oh, this is real mauling stuff here. Not pretty, but there's the only way these chaps know how to fight. Oh, Sendra really chasing Boetes now. He wants that title.
Both looking superbly conditioned.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Both these young men are in excellent condition. And we know Boetes always comes into his fights in 100% condition. He's a very, very good trainer, is Boetes. Clubbing shots coming in there from Boetes. There goes the head now. Oh,
Sendra's in trouble, yeah.
Good stuff there, referee. He's deducting a point, and quite correctly so. Well, that was a blatant butt there from Garcia.
Well, Sendra complaining, but if he wants to get disqualified, he's going about it the right way.
Well done, referee. That he had to take charge there, and that's what you need, because this can really end up in a lot of trouble here.
Stop! If you do it again, I'll disqualify, okay? Let's go!
Quite correctly there, the referee taking control. We criticised him early on, but referee taking control, which he has to do. Well, this is where you see it. There's a blatant butt. I mean, you can't do that in a boxing ring, and that is really bad stuff there, and quite correctly so. Referee Gain O'Neill took off one punt. That was absolutely blatant.
Sendra himself complaining about Boetes boring in with the head, but
fair enough to come in there, but I mean, that was so blatant. There's no doubt the referee had to take action. Into round 4 of this super middleweight contest for the South African middleweight title.
You want boxing, okay?
Quite correctly, the referee reading the rules to them, reading the riot act. I want boxing. So cut out the dirt, and this is what he's taken control now, and he's got to keep it up. Well, Sendra's still in there. He's taken a lot of shots from Boetes, but he's in superb condition, and Sendra's still coming right back, but now he's taking a bit of a beating there from those right hands from Boetes.
Sendra never been beaten, of course, in his 8-fight career, but he's also never fought an opponent of this quality.
As I said earlier, he has never been a 10-rounder, let alone a 12-rounder. So he's up against it tonight. The odds are stacked against Garcia.
But you know, you look at Sendra, he's been a pro for 4 years already, and I think he needs to get his career going. Only 8 fights. There's not too much out there in the super middles. So, you know, it's a fight he's wanted for a long time.
Well, quite correctly so. There's only so very little, and Here comes a bit of butty going on. I don't suppose if these chaps know the straight left, straight right. All they know is to get in there and more. And this won't change. They set the pattern right from the first bell. And this will be, as long as the fight lasts, it'll be the same pattern. Swinging, missing, pushing, butting, whatever. It's all there. And this is not going to change.
I think Buerta's taking a lot of punches from Sendra, but there's no question Buerta's is in control of the fight. It's probably a bit rougher than he likes, but he's certainly on top.
Stop!
Sendra complaining there. The head going in from Buerta.
Watch it, all right.
Referee warning both of them to watch the heads. And, well, there's a good right hand there from Jorge Sendra Garcia.
Box out there.
The interesting young man is Garcia. He comes from Spain originally, doesn't he, Clinton?
Yeah, apparently born in Barcelona. He came across at a young age to South Africa, subsequently returned to Spain where he fought in the preliminary trials for the Olympics and didn't make the final team, but a fairly good amateur fighter.
Well, he really wants his title. He's still in there with a chance. He has been round 4 of the scheduled 12-rounder against Swin Buerta, the champion in the white trunks with blue trim, and that's Jorge Sendra Garcia in the white trunks with the red fired trim at the bottom.
Break! Stay back. Swin, leave the ropes.
As rough and as crude as it looks, these are the conditions Sendra rebels in. He likes this sort of fighting. He likes it inside. He likes it rough and ready.
Well, I think so does Buerta. He doesn't know any other way, and that's how Buerta's always fought. We've seen him right from his beginning of his pro career. He's always had the same style. He's never improved on the style. Been effective for him. He's won the title on 2 occasions, lost it, and now he gained title in his first defense of his super middleweight title. He won back in September against James Marcelo. Some action from the rough stuff we possibly saw in that 4th round. Pushing again, the same pattern throughout. You see this mauling stuff from close in. Both fighters not throwing their punches correctly, and this is where they lose in power. It's more of a wrestling match than a boxing match at the moment. Going to round 5 here, scheduled 12-rounder for the South African super middleweight title. None of the fighters have really looked as though they've ever been in trouble in any of the previous rounds, Clinton.
No, not at all. I think, but if the better punches have been thrown by Buerta, but you know, Sendra's more than willing. He loves this sort of fight.
Well, I reckon he came back in that last round, did well enough to shade the round on my card. But he gave a point away for that butt in the previous round, so he's got a little bit of a backlog now to make up.
Buerta's only lost to good fighters. Zolani in game 2 in an SA super middleweight fight. He lost to, subsequently beat in game 2. Of course, lost to Sugarboy Malinga, which is no disgrace. Extended him 11 rounds. And to Jaffa Balogun, fighter from Togo.
Oh, Jaffa Balogun has done very well in Europe. Very top fighter, but he was really annihilated that fight. It was far too soon in his career to take on an experienced hard man like Balogun. But he's had a lot of problems at night. Chopping and wrestling and hitting in the kidneys. That all goes young. Nothing. Oh, there you are. That was a low blow, yes. Referee ruled a low blow. That was well below the belt. Now, in terms of the rules, he can give him 5 minutes.
Was it allowed?
He's checking with the judges, his referee Gaynor. The slow, that was definitely, and yeah, we're seeing possibly catches right under the belt. There's no doubt about that. It was below the belt. It was definitely a low blow. He's deducting a point, the referee. Another point.
1 point sweeping low.
Garcia cannot afford to lose points like this. He's got to pick it up because if it goes to 12 rounds, to catch up those points is going to be very, very difficult.
all this does is put pressure on Garcia, because what's going to happen is he's going to go try for the knockout, because there's no ways he's going to win a fight on points that he's rapidly losing on points.
Well, he's gradually falling behind here with 2 points deducted and losing a couple of rounds. He must be at least 4 points behind on the judges' scorecards. I don't think we've seen rough stuff like this since the days of Gerrie Coetzee against Mike Schutte, that famous fight down in Durban where everything went. The knees went. We haven't seen the knees here yet tonight. The boots went in. This is possibly the roughest fight we've seen since that one.
I know Sendra's game plan was to relax through the 12 rounds, take it easy. It's a long haul, but that's clearly what he's got to do. He's got to go relax, just slow things down a bit, just gather his fight together, and just fight perhaps a more intelligent fight.
Not lose his head, which he tends to do. I think when he gets really worked up, he just loses his cool, and he's really giving that champion a working over now. This is it's all Garcia now. He's having a full go at Brutus, and this is the best rally of the fight here by Garcia. Brutus hanging in there.
But some of those punches to the body not landing as nicely as he would have liked, although a couple to the head got through.
Well, this is a real great effort here from Garcia, giving it into the last 15 seconds here of round 5, and champion Brutus looks as though he's in trouble here. This is good comeback here by Garcia after having a point deducted. He's taking the fight to the champion and really roughing him up, but possibly he hasn't done enough to win the round. He would lose it because of losing that point.
John, luister nou baie mooi. Jy hou nie jou distansie nie. Hou jou distansie. Swin, wat?
Well, there's some action from that round, and you can see the champion really taking shots here, trying to duck in, but possibly a few of those shots shots got through, and I think he was hurt there.
But I think tribute to his fitness, he hasn't been down at all, and a fit fighter wouldn't go down.
Well, possibly that was the best round of the fight for Garcia. Even though he had a point deducted, he did the best out of any of the previous rounds. As we go into round 6, and it's all action, rough and tumble, super middleweight title fight for the South African super middleweight title. Jorge Sendra Garcia, the challenger, only had 8 fights, but whatever happens tonight, he wants that title, and he's having a full go. He's giving the champion a lot to think about.
Break!
I've been a bit disappointed with Brutus's defense. He surely knew what he was up against tonight, but Sendra's caught him with far too many punches.
But this is Brutus's style. He knows no other style, and the stuff pouring in there from Sendra. He's a rough, tough customer, Sendra, and he knows he's got the champion going now, and he's giving it his all. I think Brutus is really in trouble here now. This is a very, very good start to round 6 here by Sendra.
Big right hand thrown by Sendra.
Now, he's really taking the fight to the champion now, and it looks as though Brutus is wilting here in round 6. He's going to have to dig deep if he wants to keep his title, because Sendra is right in the fight now. You can see the concern on the face of Brutus. It's been rough in there, and this is the survival of the fittest. At the moment, it looks as though Garcia is the fittest of the two.
But what Sendra needs to be aware of, the fight isn't even at the halfway stage yet. He needs to box economically, needs to pace himself over the 12 rounds. It's still a long way to go.
Quite correct, and as I said, right through the early part of the fight, the longer the fight goes, the more difficult it gets for a man like Garcia. Possibly Brutus lying on a bit, trying to conserve his energy, but I think he looks in a little bit of trouble.
Well, it's not one for the connoisseur.
He's got him, he's gone. A terrific right hand there from Brutus. Caught Sendra the jaw. His legs are gone. He's in real trouble. Is he going to make it? He's going to have to dig very deep. What a great comeback here for Brutus.
Sendra's going to have to get onto his bicycle.
Brutus
is going to jump right on him.
It's all Buddhist now. He's really in serious trouble now, is Sendra. The boy said he couldn't take a shot in the jaw, and the referee has called it off. Well, a little bit early, I thought there, don't you? I still think he could have hung in a bit.
Well, I think so. Sendra's a fighter with heart. He's going to be unhappy with that result. He's a guy who prefer to be carried out on his shield, and he's going to be unhappy tonight.
Well, going back in the fight, the rough tumble stuff, I think that is a little bit premature. Possibly giving him a chance. It's a championship fight. He should have given him a little bit longer. Let him hold a bit, because he really wasn't in that much trouble when he got up. He's wobbly legs, but he still had his senses about him. Looking in the corner now, he has recovered. I think he's going to be a little bit unhappy about that. I would have given him a few more seconds.
I'd have to agree. If you think that the earlier part of the round belonged to Sendra, he was dominating, and Buertes pulled one out of the bag, but I must question the referee's decision.
I think a little bit early, but that's boxing, and rather early than too soon.
Sure.
Well, there we have the champion. Buertes retains his title with a technical knockout in the 6th round in a real rough and tumble. Possibly we'll see their blow coming out. And there it is, a good shot on the jaw. He didn't know what hit him there. He was going down. And really, that was a crackerjack right hand from Buertes, the champion.
Well, probably too much too soon for the young challenger, but yeah, that's the price you pay when you challenge for the South African title.
But he put up a gutsy performance. What a great performance here. It was rough stuff, but he was in there. And it looks like we got the time and the result from our announcer over to Dennis Diwali.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee scores the fight as follows. 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the 5th round. Our winner, and he is still the super middleweight champion of South Africa, Buertes.
Well, there you are. It's 2 minutes, 30 seconds into the 6th round. Our announcer got it wrong there. That was a good stoppage there for the champion, retaining his title, but he knows he's been in a fight tonight.
Credit to the champion. He was in a tough fight, and he came through. I thought he did well against a difficult challenger.
And Garcia was coming back in that round, and he was getting on top. And I was surprised that the champion could come back, because he was really having a rough time there.
But that, of course, is what separates the champions from the challengers, being able to pull the big ones out of the bag. Well, Ron Jackson now going up to the ring to interview the champion.
Dit was 'n harde geveg daar.
Over to you.
Ek dink net voor die uitklop was jy in heel wat probleme.
Definitief, beslis, maar ek het geweet, Jorge Sendra het nog nooit, hy het miskien hard geoefen in die gym, maar hy het nog nooit in die kruit self 12 rondes of 10 rondes gegaan nie. Dit was moeilik vir hom.
Enige tyd in die geveg het hy jou seer gemaak, het jy voel jy sal gaan?
Nie dat my bene voel dat ek nou onder my gepad nie, maar ek het gevoel hy het krag agter sy houe. Dis waarom ek bietjie myself bietjie geretireer en bietjie gehou vas.
En al die pijlgoed, hoe het jy gevoel wat hy pijl, die kopstamp en die laag houe en so aan?
Ja, hy het my 'n paar keer laag houe gevang en dit het my bene al bietjie geëet. Maar verder kan ek sê ek het hard geoefen vir die geveg. Die voorbereiding was reg en ek is weer die kampioen.
Ja, baie goed en veel geluk vorentoe.
Baie dankie, baie dankie.
Well, that's a happy champion for you. A successful first defense. There he is, the winner, Buertes.